Hey, this is Buck Dharma of Blue Oyster Cult, and you're listening to the Sports Circus.
Welcome to the Sports Circus. I'm your ringmaster, Sal, live from Las Vegas in the AMP TV studio, AAMP Television. Today's show is brought to you by UppercutChops.com. Check out their tasty selection of all-natural, dry-aged USDA, prime Angus, and Wagyu steaks and chops. Wait till you taste their best-in-class New York steaks, the filet mignon, the king of all those gigantic cowboy cut and tomahawk cut ribeyes. How about those half-pound Wagyu burgers or that short rib of beef? Best Wagyu and USDA prime I've ever had. Don't let that confuse you from those other organizations that they say it's prime beef or it's Wagyu, but it's not the highest grade. Believe me, folks, there is an enormous difference. UppercutChops.com has the best steaks and chops I've ever had. Check them out at UppercutChops.com or give them a call. Find out what's for dinner. 714-948-0100. 714-948-0100. That's 714-948-0100 for UppercutChops.com. Yes! All right, a big welcome in, everybody listening in on our CBS, NBC, and Fox Sports affiliates and independents from coast to coast. Everybody watching our Cox, Comcast, Spectrum, Frontier, Oceanic, Time Warner, Spectrum, Wild Charter, and independent cable affiliates in select markets. Thanks for joining us, as well as hotel television, where applicable. Everybody streaming on Pick Your Favorite Streamer and Chicago Food Favorites on Facebook. Check that group out, folks. Chicago Food Favorites on Facebook. Talk about your favorite restaurants, favorite recipes. Make some friends, have some fun. Chicago Food Favorites on Facebook. And also, by the way, our friends over at Vacation Buddies are giving away a couple of nights in fabulous Las Vegas, Orlando, Florida, or Branson, Missouri, if you can answer a very simple trivia question. Here's the question. Which of these three is the tallest structure in Las Vegas? Is it A, the Stratosphere Tower at the Strat? B, the Eiffel Tower at the Paris Hotel and Casino, or C, the Fontainebleau Hotel and Casino? If you know the answer, call 888-576-5777, 888-576-5777, 888-576-5777. Vacation Buddies is not affiliated with the station, but they want to give you a couple of nights in Vegas, Orlando, or Branson, Missouri, if you know the answer to that very simple trivia question. And if so, call 888-576-5777. Call now. All right. Boy, this is a fun one. I've been looking forward to this one for, about 13 weeks or so. I think it's been about that long. Well. The final college football rankings have been released by the Associated Press and also by, guess who? The College Football Playoff. That's right. Do we want to talk about the AP rankings? We could do that for just a moment. How about AP rankings? Let's do this. Just because we can, we'll go on to our favorite search engine that rhymes with noodle, and we'll go to that one, and we'll put NCAA rankings. All right, and we're going to come up with, of course, the AP. And boy, this, to me, today is a happy day. Today is a very, very happy day. Because when we look at the rankings, we say, oh, that's right, Ohio State is not the number one team in the nation. That's right. In case you're keeping score, folks, they are not the top team in the nation. And I absolutely love that. I mean, for me, what a happy day. And for a lot of other people that don't like those guys, it's a happy day. So without further, let's go to the Associated Press final top 25 rankings. Now we're going to go right to AP News CFP.com. We're going to go right to their page, so there's no question about anything we're looking at. No, none whatsoever. And so as we look at the rankings, we say, wow, this is sort of what we expected in the grand scheme of things when it came to these final rankings. And I was really hoping it was going to go this way. I just have this real issue where it seems to me that certain institutions spend more money on athletics than they should for academics. So we'll start at the bottom. Final rankings, those receiving votes. TCU got a vote. Western Michigan gets a vote. Good for them. Iowa State, a couple of votes. Illinois, a couple of votes. Kennesaw State gets 3 votes. And if you don't know anything about them, look out for them in the bowl season. Pitt got 3. Washington, University of Washington gets 4. UConn gets 5. Imagine UConn beating Washington in anything except basketball. That's crazy. Louisville gets 6. Arizona State gets 6. SMU 8. South Florida 10. Vegas gets 10. Boise State gets 16, being the Mountain West champion. And the list goes on. Duke University, who wins the ACC, gets 18 votes. With 5 losses, they still get 18 votes. New Mexico, going to a bowl game, that got 21 votes. Tennessee gets 61 out of the rankings. That's really disappointing for Rocky Top. I don't even understand that one. How in the world they could digress like that, I have no idea. Iowa gets 74, Houston gets 82, and then the top 25, according to the AP, their final poll. So coming in at 25th place was the Missouri Tigers, a very good defensive squad, previously unranked and no votes. And guess what? They end up number 25. Georgia Tech, 9-3 overall, ends up number 24. North Texas, with a couple of losses, losing in the American Athletic Conference title game. They lose to Tulane 34-21. They finish ranked number 23. I really don't know about that one. Navy finishes up at number 22 at 9-2. They only played 11 games. Most of the teams played 12 or 13 games. Arizona finishes at number 21. They jumped up 1. They final at 21 at 9-3. Virginia, who lost the ACC championship game to Duke 27-20, they finish at number 20. Had they won that game, they likely would have been in the college football playoff. One of the darlings of the whole tournament, in my opinion, coming up is James Madison. They finish at 12-1 with a decisive win over the men of Troy in the Sun Belt Championship. And of course, I have been rooting for James Madison all year, and we're going to give them a big round of applause. Yes! James Madison, why? Look, I went to Duke, but James Madison are the Dukes. So we got to keep it in the family, I suppose. So anyway, James Madison, very, very, very good stuff. I'm really happy for those guys. And in fact, they're losing their coach to UCLA. He's going over to UCLA right after the game, I guess the next day or whatnot. Michigan finishes 9-3 overall and number 18 in the rankings. They have a bowl game. Tulane, who wins the American Athletic Conference with their win against North Texas, 34-21. They finish at number 17. We're going to give them a nice round of applause. So good for them. Good for them for finishing it out. And Tulane finished really strong. They had a couple of bad losses, though. And honestly, I think if any team was going to be left out of the picture, I thought it was going to be Tulane because they had 2 losses going in. And James Madison only had 1 going in. And their loss, when you look at James Madison's loss, losing to Louisville in week 1, because week 0 there was a win, but week 1 they lost in a tough game at Louisville. That's James Madison's only loss this year. And their 1-loss team is way down the trough in the rankings. All right, USC finishes 9-3 overall, which I actually thought they were going to be something to the tune of 7-6 or 7-5, but they finish at 9-3 overall in the Big Ten, and that gets them a pretty good bowl game as well. They go up 1 from 17-16. Utah finishes 10-2, a strong season for Utah. Number 15, number 14, Texas. A little bit overrated. They do have a couple of good wins in there. They finish 14, basically where they belong. A little disappointing with Vanderbilt finishing behind Brigham Young and Alabama in the AP rankings. Vanderbilt with some big wins, and their losses were very tight losses. And I think they were in my opinion, they should have finished ahead of Alabama. That's just not right. Although Alabama did win head-to-head against them, and maybe that's what it was. And it was a tight game. I think it was 29-22, if I'm not mistaken. That was at Tuscaloosa, probably about 3 or 4 weeks ago. But in any event, Vanderbilt finishes number 13. Brigham Young, they lost their second game to Texas Tech, and they basically bounced themselves right out of the CFP tournament. Alabama finishes at 11, 10-3 overall. Miami, 10-2, finishes at ranked 10. Notre Dame finishes at number 9 at 10-2. Oklahoma, 10-2 also, and they're number 8 in the rankings, the AP rankings. Texas A&M, 1 loss, number 7. Ole Miss, 1 loss, number 6. Oregon, 1 loss, number 5. Their loss coming to Indiana. And it was Texas Tech, 1 loss with a loss. In fact, it was against Utah. Very tough loss for them. Very good squad. Boy, they're going to be a tough out. 12-1 overall. Ohio State finishes number 3 in the AP rankings. That's right. Laugh it up, kids. They dropped 2. Georgia finishes number 2 at 12-1. And it's Indiana. Yes, Indiana. Number 1. And they get the long applause for their wonderful win on a neutral field against Ohio State in the Big Ten tournament. How do you like them apples? Boy, great news for Indiana. Hey, great news to see those guys from Columbus take one on the chin. Gotta love that. Last couple games they lost were by the same score of 13-10. Back here in a few minutes on the circus. Lots more to... Don't go anywhere.
Excellent.
Stop it! She got up.
Attention business owners. You and your customers are listening to this right now. Face it, every business needs customers, even yours. The Sports Circus is a primetime nationally syndicated program that's carried on ABC, NBC, CNBC, and Westwood One News affiliates, plus CBS, Fox, and NBC Sports affiliates across North America, with coverage from Hawaii to New York. Also, the Sports Circus is available to the 180 million subscribers on iHeartRadio, and the Sports Circus gets about 4 million website visitors per month, which could click through your website and bring sales. The Sports Circus provides great content featuring celebrity guests from sports and entertainment to our audience every weekday, which your company could greatly benefit from by increasing your visibility, foot traffic, eyeballs to your website, and calls from potential customers. Call us right now at
714-948-0100. Again, 714-948-0100.
Or email us at info@thesportscircus.com. That's info@thesportscircus.com. Drive your sales today by advertising with the Sports Circus.
Do you know someone with a drug or alcohol problem? Get help right now. Insurance may cover everything. Stop the drug and alcohol nightmare. Are drug and alcohol problems hitting you too close to home? Get help right now. Insurance may cover everything.
800-831-1560. 800-831-1560. 800-831-1560. That's 800-831-1560.
Why pay retail for your next car? Just visit beepinautos.com to find your new-to-you car or truck. They find cars for people, even when cars are hard to find. So just go to beepinautos.com and click on Find Me a Car, and they find your perfect car on the wholesale market. Beepinautos.com. They're a car concierge. Beepinautos.com. BEEPIN autos.com. Beepinautos.com. Now you have a friend in the car business when you need it most. Trusted since 2013. Just click Find Me a Car at beepinautos.com.
That's the sound of sizzling, dry-aged USDA Prime Wagyu and Angus steaks from UppercutChops.com. Their best-in-class filet mignons, New York steaks, and the king of all steaks, the tomahawk and cowboy cut ribeyes, are the best in the business. Even their Prime Wagyu burgers will likely be the best you've ever had. Browse the full selection of steaks and chops at UppercutChops.com from the comfort of your home or on your mobile device. UppercutChops.com delivers all-natural, dry-aged USDA Prime Wagyu and Angus steaks and chops directly to your door, without the hassle of going to the grocery store and fight crowds to pick from a small selection of average and best meats with injected steroids, fillers, and coloring added to look good. Find out what's for dinner at UppercutChops.com or call 714-948-0100. 714-948-0100. 714-948-0100. Or make your selection directly at UppercutChops.com.
to the Sports Circus. I'm Roy Firestone. Now it's time to throw it back to Sal.
Thank you, Roy, and welcome back to the Sports Circus. I'm your ringmaster, Sal, live from Las Vegas in the AMP TV studio, AAMP Television. This segment brought to you in part by our friends over at the College of Southern Nevada Athletics. Check them out at csncoyotes.com for upcoming games and events. That's the College of Southern Nevada Athletics, csncoyotes.com. Check them out, folks. All right, welcome back to everybody listening in on all of our radio stations, including our friends over in Atlanta. Thanks for waking up with us on WDJY 99.1 FM. Thanks for driving home with us. Our friends just down the road over in Auburn, Alabama, Columbus, Georgia, Montgomery, Alabama, listening in on WAUD. That's home of the Atlanta Braves, 1230 on the AM dial. Welcome in everybody else up and down the Midwest, all the way out to the West Coast, those driving between sunny Southern California and fabulous Las Vegas, listening in on Highway Country Radio, right down Interstate 15, 101.5 FM and 107.3 FM, home of the Vegas Golden Knights, the Raiders, and the Sports Circus at 7 p.m. All those people up and down the West Coast, up to Anchorage, over to Honolulu, CBS Sports 1500 KHKA, that's home of the New York Yankees, the Alabama Crimson Tide, and the San Francisco 49ers. Thanks for joining us there, plus everybody else on Cox, Comcast, Spectrum, Frontier, Oceanic, Time Warner, Spectrum, Wild Charter, and independent cable affiliates in select markets where applicable. Same with hotel television. All right. Oh, by the way, in the first segment, there was a giveaway for a couple of nights in Las Vegas, Orlando, Florida, or Branson, Missouri. If you know the answer to a simple trivia question, in case you're just tuning in, I'm going to repeat it. So you got a shot at a couple of nights in Vegas, Orlando, or Branson. If you know the answer, call the number right after the question and pick up your 2 free nights. Which of these 3 is the tallest structure in Las Vegas? Is it A, the Stratosphere Tower at the Strat, B, the Eiffel Tower at the Paris Hotel and Casino, or C, the Fontainebleau Hotel and Casino? If you know the answer, call 888-576-5777, 888-576-5777, 888-576-5777. Vacation Buddies is not affiliated with this station, but they want to give you a couple of nights right here in Vegas, Orlando, or in Branson, Missouri. So, if you know the answer, call 888-576-5777. Call now. All right, so we went over the AP Top 25, the final poll. Well, here's the CFP final poll as well. All right, we're going to do these very quickly. We've got a lot to get to. So, in 25th, North Texas, James Madison finishes in 24th. This is important. James Madison, number 24. Iowa 23, Georgia Tech 22, Houston 21, Tulane number 20. So pay attention to number 24 and number 20. Virginia 19, Michigan 18, Arizona 17, USC 16, Utah 15, Vanderbilt 14, Texas 13, Brigham Young number 12, Notre Dame number 11, Miami number 10, Alabama 9, Oklahoma 8, Texas A&M, 7, with 1 loss, mind you, 7. Ole Miss, 6. Oregon, 5. Texas Tech, 4. Georgia, 3. Ohio State, 2. And Indiana, number 1. Why do I want you to pay attention to this? Because think about this. Number 11 and number 12, they did not get in to the big dance for college football. That would be the CFP playoff. Why is that? Well, first of all, number 12 goes to the highest seed, or the best group of 5 team, the highest seeded conference champion. And that was James Madison at 12-1. All right, so you got to play along with this, folks, if you understand what's going on here. So number 12 goes to James Madison. But in sort of a conundrum here, number 11, which of course was Notre Dame, well, they had 2 losses. However, they did not play a conference championship game. Because why? Oh, no. We have to be independent. Oh, no, we don't want to do that. No, they're crying in South Bend because they didn't make the final group of 12 teams to play in the CFP in the first place. And I absolutely love that. What a happy day this is for me. And so those guys are on the outside looking at, if you joined a conference, Notre Dame, then you wouldn't be in this discussion. You'd have been in the tournament you probably would have played in the ACC tournament against Duke University. And that's what it was. So it'd be a rematch of Notre Dame and Duke. But guess what? Because they're only a part-time, or better yet, they're in the ACC except for football. What kind of crap is that? So those guys, they start having a fit because why? They're not in the tournament. Well, guess what? They didn't play a tournament game. So now they're crying about it. No, we're not going to go in. We're not going to play in our bowl game because we wanted to be in the CFP. Shut up. Seriously. Just shut up. I'm going to get to those guys in a minute. So anyway, 11 and 12 are left out. And the reason number 11's left out, Tulane gets it because they were actually the higher ranked. I guess they had a better conference record or they had more. They were actually ranked higher according to the CFP in the first place when it came to these teams. Now, and I'm not talking about in the AP rankings because actually I'm talking about in the college football playoff rankings. So Tulane was ranked number 20 according to the College Football Playoff Committee, a committee of 12 people, and James Madison was 24. So the higher ranked gets the higher seed of number 11 versus number 12, which went to James Madison. Because of all the chaos that happened with Duke winning over Virginia, I mean, that really, really muddied the water just a little bit. And I love that. So we look at the playoff now. The playoff is kind of fun. I like the fact that it's in the top bracket. 1 and 4 are the top bracket, and 3 and 2 are in the bottom bracket. So, of course, Indiana is number 1. Texas Tech is number 4. They both get byes. Now, Georgia, number 3, and Ohio State is number 2 at the bottom of the bracket. So those two, if all things went as the bracket wants 1, 2, 3, 4 to, I guess if the committee wants 1, 2, 3, 4 to square off, then technically it'd be 1 against 4 and 3 against 2. However, to play so if number 4 would advance, they're going to play the winner of the James Madison and Oregon game. Now, folks, I don't know if you've actually had a chance to watch James Madison play. They play a very heavy brand of defense. Oh, and by the way, they rush for over 200 yards a game. These guys are good. And let me tell you, if Oregon thinks, they're going to be hosting James Madison, if they think it's going to be Cupcake City, I don't think so. James Madison is going to be playing against Oregon. Well, guess what? The coach of James Madison is going to the Big Ten. It's so weird to say UCLA Big Ten. He's going to the Big Ten next year with UCLA, and he'll be playing against Oregon. So just make a little mental footnote that this coach is going to try to put his stamp on this game against Oregon specifically. And James Madison could very well upset Oregon in the same way that Indiana went in to Oregon and beat Oregon. That's right. And Indiana really took care of business against them, just as they did against Ohio State. So the winner of that game will play Texas Tech. And that game, if I'm not mistaken, is the Cotton Bowl down in Texas. That's in Dallas, Texas. Technically a home game for the Red Raiders. So I'm going to guess that James Madison's going to upset Oregon. In fact, I'm filling my bracket out right now, and I just ticked James Madison. But I have to tell you, folks, I think Texas Tech is going to absolutely steamroll James Madison, and frankly, just about any team they play. So I'm going to have Texas Tech advancing from the Cotton Bowl. Now, against Indiana. They get a bye in the first week, and it's Oklahoma hosting Alabama. Now, that ought to be one hell of a game to watch. Oklahoma with a different brand of defense. Watch out, because those guys from Norman, they play defense. In case you don't know, now you know. Oklahoma is going to upset, even a mild upset, Alabama. Oklahoma will play Indiana in the Rose Bowl. That's right, in the Rose Bowl. Now, at the bottom of the bracket, it's Tulane against Ole Miss. Tulane number 11 against Ole Miss number 5 or number 6. This one's Ole Miss all day and twice on Sundays. Ole Miss will go ahead and play Georgia. And in fact, that game, I believe, is going to be the Orange Bowl. And I believe Ole Miss is going to advance. Even though they lost their coach because he decided to take a vacation permanently and leave Oxford to go to LSU, which I think is a complete abomination. That is absolute lunacy. I think Ole Miss advances against Georgia in that particular game. In fact, that is the Sugar Bowl. We're going to go ahead and advance Oklahoma or Ole Miss. And now in the bottom of the bracket real quick, it is Miami taking the 10 slot, and they're going to play Texas A&M. And this is where Miami's road ends. And Texas A&M advances to play in fact, that is the Sugar Bowl, if I'm not mistaken. And I believe Ohio State wins that one to square off with Ole Miss in the next round. Indiana, Texas Tech, Ole Miss, Ohio State. Back here in a few minutes, folks. Don't go anywhere. We're going to continue with this.
If I was your mother and you had a drug problem, I'd grab you by the ear and make you call and get help. You can be in treatment tomorrow and start to get clean in 7 days. Follow Mom's advice and call the Detox and Treatment Helpline now. Write this number down.
800-814-8628. 800-814-8628. 800-814-8628. That's 800-814-8628.
Are you or someone you love struggling with an addiction to drugs or alcohol and want to be set free from the chains of addiction? Then call Addiction Helpline America right now to get the help you need. From drug and alcohol addiction to dual diagnosis treatment, we provide a confidential helpline to help people like you get sober and live happy, substance-free lives.
Treatment helped me get my life back. I was so addicted, the only person I could focus on was myself and what I needed. I hit rock bottom and lost everything. Through treatment, I was able to overcome those demons and focus on my family again.
I used until I overdosed and almost died. That was the end of the road for me. After seeking treatment, I now have hope. I learned skills that help me deal with life on life's terms.
800-426-4994. 800-426-4994. 800-426-4994. That's 800-426-4994.
Why pay retail for your next car? Just visit beepinautos.com to find your new-to-you car or truck. They find cars for people, even when cars are hard to find. So just go to beepinautos.com and click on Find Me a Car, and they find your perfect car on the wholesale market. Beepinautos.com. They're a car concierge. Beepinautos.com. BEEPIN autos.com. Beepinautos.com. Now you have a friend in the car business when you need it most. Trusted since 2013. Just click Find Me a Car at beepinautos.com.
Investors, keep listening to learn how to get your free gold report. A currency crisis is upon us. The U.S. dollar has been the world's reserve currency for over 50 years, but that is changing. It's time to protect your retirement. Decades of reckless borrowing and spending have critically weakened the dollar. The U.S. has become the world's biggest debtor with over $35 trillion in debt. Plus, the dollar's become weaponized. Countries are dumping it. Investors who wait until it's too late could lose big. There is one safe haven: gold. Diversify your portfolio with a physical asset they can't take away. Call the Reagan Gold Group right now and ask for your free gold guide. Here's our number:
800-876-7041. 800-876-7041. 800-876-7041. That's 800-876-7041.
Hey everyone, Dave Jackson here, ESPN rules analyst on ESPN Hockey, and you're listening to the Sports Circus.
Welcome back to the Sports Circus. I'm your ringmaster, Sal, live from Las Vegas in the AMP TV studio, AAMP Television. Folks, make sure you check out thesportscircus.com for upcoming guests, our prior guests, or recorded shows, which can be found on Apple, Amazon, Audible, Spotify, Pandora, YouTube, iHeart, Stitcher, Deezer, plus a whole bunch of others. Also, check out the partners page. Lots of great partners at thesportscircus.com. Our favorite is Al's #1 Italian Beef, 1079 West Taylor Street in Chicago's Little Italy. That's Al's #1 Italian Beef, 1079 West Taylor Street in Chicago's Little Italy. And if you can't get over there for some great food, check them out at alsbeef.com. That's alsbeef.com. Pick up your supplies there for the holidays and tell them the circus sent you. All right. Nice round of applause for them. All right, welcome back to everybody on radio and TV. We're going to get right back to this college football playoff bracket. So I have, in the first round, James Madison over Oregon. I just filled out my bracket right here at ncaa.com. In fact, I'll give you my handle so you can watch that or pay attention to it and see if I'm BSing you or not. I got James Madison over Oregon in the first round in a stunning upset. And Texas Tech gets a break because they have a bye. Indiana also gets a bye. And the winner, of course, of Alabama and Oklahoma faces Indiana in the Rose Bowl. I've got Texas Tech advancing against James Madison in the, let's see, that is the Cotton Bowl. That's right, it's Cotton Bowl. And Indiana advancing over Oklahoma. Tough-fought defensive game. Indiana over Oklahoma in the Rose Bowl. Texas Tech and Indiana coming out for basically the Final Four in this one, in this bracket, on the top half. And the bottom half, I've got Ole Miss rolling over Tulane. Don't even see how Tulane is in this game. And Ole Miss stunning upset. I've got that happening in the Orange Bowl against Georgia. That's right, Ole Miss over Georgia. Shock the world. Good SEC matchup there. Bottom of the bracket, Miami plays Texas A&M. It's the end of the road for Miami. Texas A&M against Ohio State. I got Ohio State advancing against Ole Miss in the semifinals. And in the final, I've got Ohio State advancing against Ole Miss against Texas Tech. That's right, Texas Tech. And in fact, I've got Texas Tech in the championship game beating Ohio State. Those guys, I don't know how anybody could stop Texas Tech. I really don't. I mean, Indiana, they have so much of the same. They play a very similar game, but I almost think the offensive arsenal for Texas Tech is just, I really think the last team with the ball is going to win it. Somehow I think Texas Tech's going to win that Rose Bowl, and I've got them beating everybody. I don't see anybody beating them whatsoever. And why does this matter? I'm going to hit finish bracket. All right, I'm going to hit finish bracket right now. Now, if you want to follow my bracket, it is CHXNDML 8790718. My bracket on NCAA.com is CHXNDML 8790718. All right, so now you know that's my bracket. I'm living with it, and I'm sticking with it. I think Texas Tech is just too much. And here's the funny thing. I'm looking at the national championship winner odds right now, the future bets. And Texas Tech right now is getting a great price at plus 900 at MGM. And they are actually plus 750 at Caesars, plus 800 at other places. But MGM got them at plus 900, 9-1 to win it all. And honestly, these guys can play. Man, they can play. Now, looking at the balance of the odds here, start at the bottom. Tulane is a lofty 500 to 1. James Madison is at 400 to 1. Boy, it's kind of worth putting $100 on that one. I mean, that's not so bad. You're talking 4 G's for $100 if they win. Oklahoma is at plus. Actually, I'll strike that. James Madison at MGM is plus 5. Yeah, it's 5,000. Is it? I'm sorry, 500 to 1. I got it right. Same as Tulane. All right. Caesars Palace got Tulane at 5,500, but I mean, you might as well just throw your money in the trash right there. All right. Oklahoma at MGM is 66 to 1. I'll tell you what, that's worth $100 as well. Absolutely worth $100. Alabama is at 20-1. I wouldn't put that money on that one at all. And Miami is at 22-1. I would not put a penny on that one. They're going to be a quick exit. Ole Miss could get lucky, and they're at 25-1 to win the championship. Texas A&M does play a little bit of offense this year. A little bit shocking because they're normally defense, and they do host a game. But Texas A&M is at 17-1. I think that's money flushed the toilet. I already talked about Texas Tech. I think that's your winner at 9-1 at MGM. That's really good. Oregon is at 9-1 also. Not a lot of value there because they don't play enough defense to get by Indiana. They're going to have to face Indiana again if they get that far, and Indiana's going to beat them again if that's the case. So moving on, Georgia is at 5-1, a pretty good price for a team down the trough a little bit. Indiana is at plus 280, so they're at essentially 2.8-1 at Caesars. That's not bad. And Ohio State is at 2.5-1. So those are your future odds for the NCAA championship. However, let me see if we have odds for the bowl games. I'm not sure if we do, but we may have odds. I'm not really sure if we do just yet. As a matter of fact, we do have some odds, and nope, these were the previous odds, so we can't really look at these because these are a non-issue right now. So I'm going to go ahead and close it out. We don't really need that one. But, here's the thing. I mentioned that Notre Dame was crying because they weren't going to the playoff. Well, look, think about this. For the current bowl season, Notre Dame, Iowa State, Kansas State, they are not participating in bowl games. That's right. While teams like Florida State, Auburn, UCF, Baylor, Kansas, Rutgers, and Temple, they've all declined invites. Auburn should take whatever the hell they get. They should be lucky they're even getting an invitation in the first place. I don't care if they're playing in the toilet bowl. They should take it. Same thing with Florida State. And frankly, Central Florida should take anything. Rutgers, I can't even believe they even got any kind of invitation in the first place. Take whatever you get. That leaves teams open that are 5-7, like Georgia Southern. I mean, look, they say, well, the reasons are varying from snubs from Notre Dame to coaching changes at K-State and Iowa State or player preferences, with some teams like Iowa State and K-State facing significant Big 12 fines for opting out. That's right. There are consequences in the Big 12. In fact, the Big 12 fined Iowa State and K-State $500,000 for their opt-outs in the first place.
Show me the money!
That's right. $500,000 for opting out. And I love that. That's great. But the team's declining to opt out. This is a whole nother thing. So Notre Dame opted out after missing the CFP, ending their season. Oh, well, if we can't play in the tournament, we don't want to play in anything else. We're going to basically take the ball and go home because that's how we do it. That's right. Now, we already talked about Iowa State, K-State, Florida State, Auburn, UCF, Baylor, Kansas, Rutgers, and Temple. They declined the invites, of course, with several, like Florida State and Auburn, having opportunities to fill spots for teams with losing records. Apparently, they didn't want to go in. Oh, they didn't want the money. We'll just say, we're not going to play a bowl game and take the free money. Nah, we don't want the money. We got plenty of money. Well, last I checked, out of those schools, Florida State, UCF, Kansas, Rutgers are all state institutions. So that would be money back into the institution rather than what? Using taxpayer money. Oh, no. So the taxpayers would probably like to see them play because that would supplement some of their money for the university. So you have to think about that. Now, yes, there are some coaching changes that are going on here, but guess what? Ole Miss, who's in the CFP, they're going to play because they're men. They're manly men. That's what they're supposed to do. They don't care. I'll have the backup coach or the new coach come in and coach us. That's fine. And at least Ole Miss has the parts to go ahead and play anyway. Then they say, well, we don't want our teams getting hurt and stuff like that. And so there are concerns over players' health, safety, and preparation time. No. You know what it is? It's all about one thing, folks.
Show me the money!
It's all about money. That's it. End of day, it's money, 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 money. And then they say, well, there's roster instability and transfer portal activity and player opt-outs can leave teams. What the hell is it? If you're playing college football, if you commit to play college football, why is it that you don't play the whole season? And why is it that you're allowed to just say, well, I don't want to play in this game? What kind of crap is that? That is the worst crock of you-know-what that I have ever heard of. And frankly, it is an abomination to NCAA athletics, the institutions. What about the teammates that worked their butts off all season long? Well, guess what? Little Billy doesn't want to play in this game. So now you're going to be short one of your star players because little Billy is making business decisions over his team. And that's a bunch of crap. Back here in a few minutes. Don't go anywhere.
Stop it! Why isn't this an awkward moment?
That's the sound of sizzling, dry-aged USDA Prime Wagyu and Angus steaks from UpperCutChops.com. Their best-in-class filet mignons, New York steaks, and the king of all steaks, the tomahawk and cowboy cut ribeyes are the best in the business. Even their Prime Wagyu burgers will likely be the best you've ever had. Browse the full selection of steaks and chops at UpperCutChops.com from the comfort of your home or on your mobile device. UpperCutChops.com delivers all-natural, dry-aged USDA Prime Wagyu and Angus steaks and chops directly to your door, without the hassle of going to the grocery store and fight crowds to pick from a small selection of average at best meats with injected steroids, fillers, and coloring added to look good. Find out what's for dinner at UpperCutChops.com or call 714-948-0100. 714-948-0100. 714-948-0100. Or make your selection directly at UpperCutChops.com.
Do you own a timeshare? Well, face the facts. You made a mistake. You made a bad purchase. A timeshare is not an investment. It's a money pit that continues forever. If you use your timeshare, that's great. But if you don't and you want to legally get out of your contract, call my friends right now at the Timeshare Exit Hotline. They're an experienced team of lawyers who help good people like you get out of a timeshare contract that they just don't want. Don't throw away your money on maintenance fees. Use it for things you really want. We can help you end your timeshare contract and stop the money drain immediately. If you're ready to move on with your timeshare, call our team right now.
Cancel your timeshare now with a free call. 800-298-3173. 800-298-3173. 800-298-3173. That's 800-298-3173.
Owning great property is almost impossible these days. At least, that's what people keep saying. They don't know about National Premier Properties. Do you have $350 or a credit card? You can own a great piece of property in a resort community. National Premier Properties has over 51 years of experience helping people just like you purchase amazing properties across the U.S. and in Mexico, Canada, the Bahamas. It takes less than 5 minutes to turn your dream into reality. Visit nationalpremierproperties.com and make it happen now.
Why pay retail for your next car? Just visit beepinautos.com to find your new-to-you car or truck. They find cars for people, even when cars are hard to find. So just go to beepinautos.com and click on Find Me a Car, and they find your perfect car on the wholesale market. Beepinautos.com. They're a car concierge. Beepinautos.com. BEEPIN autos.com. Beepinautos.com. Now you have a friend in the car business when you need it most. Trusted since 2013. Just click Find Me a Car at beepinautos.com.
Hey everybody, this is Brian Urlacher. Welcome back to the Sports Circus.
Welcome back to the Sports Circus. I'm your ringmaster, Sal, live from Las Vegas in the AMTV studio, AAMP television. Welcome into everybody on all of our affiliates, radio and television. Everybody watching on Chicago Food Favorites as well. Check out Chicago Food Favorites, a fun group. Talk about your favorite foods, favorite restaurants, favorite recipes. Make some friends, have some fun. Chicago Food Favorites on Facebook. All right. And make sure you check out the Sports Circus store. That's right, there's a store for all your holiday gift needs. Check it out, folks. Hats, hoodies, t-shirts, sweatpants, sweatcoats, jackets, beanie caps, baseball caps. What else do we have? Oh, shoot, we have pillows, blankets, mouse pads, travel mugs, coffee mugs, all kinds of cool stuff. Listen, folks, if you mention my name, Ringmaster Sal, at the sportscircus.com's store, you'll get an extra 10% off your holiday order. So check it out, folks. Yes! All right. Going to get back to this college football business, and we're going to go to the bowl games real quick. We have to really blow through these quickly, if I'm not mistaken. So let's get into it right away. Friday, December 19, it's Oklahoma at Alabama. Or better yet, it's Alabama at Oklahoma. Strike that. It's Oklahoma Memorial Stadium in Norman, 8 p.m., and that's going to be Eastern Time. Carried on the 4-letter network and the Disney Channel that you know of. All right, Saturday, December 20th, it is Texas A&M hosting Miami at Kyle Field. Boy, that's a hell of a place to play. I covered a game over there once, and boy, it is something. That'll be a noon game carried over those Disney channels once again. Now, also, same day, Tulane will travel to Oxford, Miss, and boy, that's a tough place to play over at Vaught Hemingway Stadium in Oxford, Miss. That's a 3:30 p.m. game. That'll be on TNT, and on the same day, it's going to be James Madison traveling to Eugene, Oregon to play the Ducks. That's 7:30 p.m. TNT on the 20th of December. Moving on, now the quarterfinals. So it would be in the Cotton Bowl. Apparently, I had the order wrong on the bowl games, so be it. The Cotton Bowl, the quarterfinals, it's Miami or Texas A&M against Ohio State. That's on December 31st, 7:30 p.m., 4-letter network. January 1st at the Orange Bowl, the winner of the James Madison game versus Texas Tech. Same day, January 1st, Rose Bowl. Alabama, Oklahoma winner against Indiana, 4 p.m., and that's going to be on the 4-letter network. And, of course, we have the Sugar Bowl, and the winner of Tulane and Ole Miss gets the right to play Georgia down in New Orleans at the Sugar Bowl at 8 p.m. on the 4-letter network. The CFP playoff national championship game, or the semifinals, better yet, is going to be January 8th, and that's going to be the Fiesta Bowl. So that'll be 7:30 p.m. on the 4-letter network. One day later, January 9th, it will be at Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta, and that would be the Peach Bowl. So we've got some good games coming up over there, and of course the national title game, January 19th. That'll be down in Miami Gardens at Hard Rock Stadium on the 4-letter network, 7:30 p.m. Now, getting into the other bowl games, and basically it's the best of the rest. Saturday, December 13th, there's a couple of games, and the first one is the Celebration Bowl. I'm not going to get into these sponsors unless it's actually the name of the bowl game. So the Celebration Bowl, which is a bunch of crap in my opinion. Why should the HBCUs be stuck to playing the first game, and that's really down the trough, and that's really unfair to the HBCUs. Anyway, South Carolina State and Prairie View will be playing at Atlanta at the Mercedes-Benz Stadium at noon, carried over the Disney Channel, if you will. That's ABC. All right, the Buckle Up LA Bowl. How do you like that? So Buckle Up, I don't even know if that's supposed to be for seatbelts or safety or a PSA. Let's just call it the LA Bowl. That's going to be Boise State and Washington over at SoFi Stadium in Inglewood, and that'll be on the same day, on the 13th at 8 p.m., carried over ABC. Now, on Tuesday, December 16th, it's going to be the Veterans Bowl. The Veteran Bowl is the men of Troy who lost to James Madison against Jacksonville State. And that'll be in Montgomery, Alabama. That's home of the Montgomery, Alabama Buttermilk Biscuits. That's a AA team for the Tampa Bay Rays. And, of course, that's part of our coverage area as well. Nice round of applause for everybody over in the greater Montgomery area. All right. Now, December 17th, Wednesday, it's the Cure Bowl, Old Dominion and South Florida. Boy, that'll be one hell of a game. I saw a game over this place. They host a few games, if I'm not mistaken. It's the Camping World Stadium in Orlando. 5 p.m., 4-letter network on the 17th. The 68 Ventures Bowl, which I don't even know which one this is. Anyway, good matchup. It's the Ragin' Cajuns of Louisiana against the Blue Hens of Delaware. Now, if you don't know anything about Delaware, they have the same hats that Michigan does, but with a little bit of a different color scheme. Anyway, Delaware is a good squad. Louisiana, I'll tell you what, get some popcorn. Watch this game. That's going to be played down in Mobile, Alabama, 8:30 p.m. on the 4-letter network. Now, the Xbox Bowl, here's one I haven't even heard of before. That features, it's on December 18th, by the way, Missouri State and Arkansas State. That ought to be a fun one. That's going to be down there in the greater Dallas Metroplex in Frisco at the Ford Center at the Star, whatever that is, 9 p.m. local time on the Deuce. Friday, December 19th, the Myrtle Beach Bowl. Kennesaw State, I mentioned them earlier, and Western Michigan. Boy, that's a hell of a matchup right there. If you know nothing about these teams, you want to watch this one, folks. It'll be a high-flying game. Now, on the same day, that would be on December 19th, it's going to be the Gasparilla Bowl with Memphis Tigers and the NC State Wolfpack. That's played down at Raymond James Stadium where the Buccaneers play. That'll be 2:30 p.m. local time on the 4-letter network. December 22nd, the famous Idaho Potato Bowl. Washington State out of the Pac-2 and Utah State. That's over on the blue field. 2 p.m. 4-letter network on the 22nd. A lot of twos over there. Pac-2, 2 p.m., December 22, two teams playing, I guess. So that one will be easy to remember. On 23rd is going to be the Boca Raton Bowl. Toledo, the Rockets, against the Cardinals of Louisville, played down in Boca Raton at the Flagler Credit Union Stadium, 2 p.m. local time, carried over the 4-letter network. Over at the New Orleans Bowl, Western Kentucky and Southern Miss, that's going to be at the Superdome, 5:30 local time on the 4-letter network. The Frisco Bowl features Vegas and the Bobcats of Ohio, again, down in the Metroplex in Dallas, 9 p.m. on the 4-letter network, and that one, again, is on the 23rd. So you got 3 games on the 23rd. Going to the 24th, Christmas Eve, it's going to be the Hawaii Bowl, the Cal Bears against the University of Hawaii. And that one, of course, will be played at the big stadium over there. That's the Ching Athletic Complex. 8 p.m., 4-letter network. Day after Christmas is going to be the Game Above Sports Bowl, a new one I've never heard of. I don't know which one it was. Oh, in fact, that used to be the Motor City Bowl, if I'm not mistaken. It's played at Ford Field in Detroit. Central Michigan and Northwestern. Should be an entertaining game there, 1 p.m. over the 4-letter network. The Rate Bowl. This one's played at Chase Field in Phoenix, New Mexico, and Minnesota. Should be a really high-scoring game. Fun game to watch. 4:30 local time, 4-letter network. First Responder Bowl. That's Florida International and UTSA. UTSA ought to really run it up on these guys. That's played in Dallas at the Gerald J. Ford Stadium. 4-letter network, 8 p.m. The Go Bowling Military Bowl, December 27th. Pitt and East Carolina, the Pirates. Watch out for the Pirates. They're a good squad. 11 a.m., 4-letter network. The Pinstripe Bowl at Yankee Stadium is also going to be played on December 27th, and that one features Penn State and Clemson. That one used to be a great matchup, and now it should just be Clemson, and that's the end of that. The Fenway Bowl, played at Fenway Park. Why not? You got one at Yankee Stadium. Now you got one at Fenway Park. That's UConn and Army on December 27th, same day, 2:15 p.m., 4-letter network. My favorite, the Pop-Tarts Bowl. Yeah, I've got to like the Pop-Tarts Bowl. Actually, it's my second one because the other one's coming up. Pop-Tarts, Georgia Tech and BYU. That should be a game that might end up 5-3. 3:30 p.m. ABC. And the Arizona Bowl features Miami of Ohio and Fresno State. That's almost the Nobody Cares Bowl, and that's at 4:30 over the CW. It's even on CW. Again, nobody cares. The New Mexico Bowl, I can't believe they're even drawing anybody. That is North Texas and San Diego State. Actually, a very good matchup. And that one also is going to be on the 27th. A lot of game on the 27th. That one is 5:45 p.m., and that is at Albuquerque. Yeah, that's carried over the 4-letter network. The Gator Bowl, Virginia and Missouri. Should be a really good defensive battle. Same day, 7:30 p.m. ABC. The Texas Bowl, LSU and Houston. Well, LSU is probably going to feature their new coach that was just poached from Ole Miss. And so that ought to be a a pretty fun game to watch anyway. Moving on, that's 9:15 p.m. local time. Okay, on the 29th, it's going to be the Birmingham Bowl, Georgia Southern and App State. Watch out for Georgia Southern in that one with a head of steam. The Radiance Technology Independence Bowl on December 30th. Coastal Carolina, Louisiana Tech. Fun game to watch there, 2 o'clock p.m. 4-letter network. The Music City Bowl, Tennessee and Illinois. That one should feature a lot of scoring. And that, again, December 30th, 5:30 p.m. 4-letter network. The Alamo Bowl, USC and TCU. USC by 50 in that game, folks. It is what it is. And at New Year's Eve, the Reliquist Bowl, Iowa and Vanderbilt. Iowa should lose handily in that game. That's played down at Raymond James. The Tony the Tiger Sun Bowl. Yes! And that's going to be Arizona State and Duke. And this one is going to be the Duke Blue Devils. Yes! All right, moving on. Got to get past these real quick here. All right, the Citrus Bowl, Michigan and Texas. And that's going to be December 31st. That'll be 3 p.m. The Las Vegas Bowl, Nebraska and Utah. I don't know if anyone's going to score in that one. And let's see, on January 2, the Armed Forces Bowl. It's going to be Rice and Texas State. Texas State by 13,000 points in that game. And moving on, it's Navy and Cincinnati in the Liberty Bowl. And Cincinnati ought to run roughshod over Navy. Sorry. The Mayo Bowl, the Duke's Mayo Bowl, Wake Forest and Miss State. That should be Wake Forest all day and 12 days on Sunday, 12 wins on Sunday. The Holiday Bowl, usually one of the most exciting games every year, features Arizona and SMU. That'll be played in San Diego. And that'll be on January 2 at 8 p.m. carried over Fox. That is the bowl game matchup. There's some really fun games in here, folks. And I happen to believe, just looking at this lineup, if you like defense, Virginia and Missouri ought to be one hell of a defensive battle. I do also believe that Tennessee, Illinois should be very entertaining. That'll be a very high-scoring game. That's played over at Nissan Stadium in Nashville, and that's on December 30th, 5:30 p.m. over the 4-letter network. Very entertaining game. And also, we're going to give it to USC and TCU. They might score 100 points in that game as well. But defensive battle, probably the lowest scoring game. It could be that Missouri game. Now, Missouri, I forget who. Oh, here, Virginia and Missouri. That should probably be one of the lowest scoring games out of this whole bowl season. Anyway, folks, that's going to do it for the circus today. I'm your Ringmaster Sal. We'll see you next time right here on the Sports Circus in 23 hours. Until then, so long, everyone.
Owning great property is almost impossible these days. At least, that's what people keep saying. They don't know about National Premier Properties. Do you have $350 or a credit card? You can own a great piece of property in a resort community. National Premier Properties has over 51 years of experience helping people just like you purchase amazing properties across the U.S. and in Mexico, Canada, the Bahamas. It takes less than 5 minutes to turn your dream into reality. Visit nationalpremierproperties.com and make it happen now.
Why pay retail for your next car? Just visit beepinautos.com to find your new-to-you car or truck. They find cars for people, even when cars are hard to find. So just go to beepinautos.com and click on Find Me a Car, and they find your perfect car on the wholesale market. Beepinautos.com. They're a car concierge. Beepinautos.com. BEEPIN autos.com. Beepinautos.com. Now you have a friend in the car business when you need it most. Trusted since 2013. Just click Find Me a Car at beepinautos.com.